What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about the main differences between the AE1 lows and the AE1 highs, or the regular AE1s. While you might think that those two are the same shoe, there's actually some key differences, and we're going to start with the first big one, which is the retail price. The lows go for 110, whereas the highs go for 120. I got both these pairs from Kick, so big shout out to them. If you want to cop a pair, you can do so through the affiliate link, which you can find down in the description box below, or just by using the code Lucas. Black Week sale is going on there right now, so you can actually save up to 25%. Let's move on to the traction performance. That's something that hasn't changed. Both of them use the exact same pattern. This one has a slightly translucent outsole. You can see the shank plate through there a little bit. You can also see that on these solid rubber pairs because you have those little cutouts, so to speak, on the outsole, so you can always see the shank plate. And personally, I also haven't really noticed a huge performance difference between the solid rubber pairs or the translucent pairs. Both are absolutely phenomenal. They offer top tier traction. Also on dusty court, they do pick up some amounts of dust, but it's nothing too bad. You can see I played with these in my last game. That was actually the first time I wore them. I would never recommend doing something like that, but because I know I like the AEs and because they fit my feet well, I just went ahead and wore them straight out of the box to my first game, and I actually had my best game of the regular season so far. Of course, it's not only the shoes, but they for sure helped. And what I was actually trying to say is that there is some dust stuck in between there, because also during halftime, there's always a lot of kids playing on the court or just running around. So obviously dust is going to be on the court. They did pick up a little bit of dust, but I still had good traction performance. And if you just wipe from time to time or clean them after you're done hooping, you really shouldn't have any issues. Outer durability is not going to be the best. The grooves are very thin, easy to move, and also kind of shallow, so they don't stick out too much. So I wouldn't use these outdoors. If you do, just be aware that they will wear down quickly. Essentially, the retail price is relatively low. I know 110 or 20 euros or dollars is still a lot of money for a lot of you guys. That's why I just wouldn't take them outdoors, because they could wear down relatively quickly, and there's better or cheaper options that I would use for outdoors. I also have a separate video on that topic. Moving on to probably the biggest difference between the two shoes, which would be the cushioning setup. You can actually see that from the outside already, because the low version has this little cutout here in the heel where it says light boost, and that's also pretty much everything you need to know. On the regular AE1s, we have a full bed of jet boost and some light strike foam in the midsole, and here we have what they call light boost in the heel and in the forefoot, as well as a big patch of light strike foam here in the middle. You can see it here a little bit on the inner side of the shoe, and they do feel pretty different as well. So I actually didn't expect it to be that big of a difference, but the highs have a lot more compression. They feel way softer under your foot. The lows are a lot more stiff. That's actually the reason why I think I really like these for game days, because on game days I do prefer some stiffer setups, something like the Book 1 or the Harden 7. Essentially a stiff forefoot is what I need, or a low to the ground forefoot. You do feel lower to the ground in the lows, whereas the highs are probably my go-to shoe for practices, because they are softer, they have better impact protection, and if I would wear the lows every day, I think my legs would get tired way more quickly than if I would wear the highs. So if you're somebody who needs a lot of cushion, definitely go for the highs. If you prefer lower to the ground setups, but you still want to feel that AE vibe, or you want to rock the AEs, then go for the lows. Sadly, they didn't change the atrocious insoles, although I haven't been noticing the big issue I had on the highs with the lows as much. On the highs, the insole would constantly move around while I was playing in the shoe. The big problem with Adidas insoles is that they are not glued down, so you can take them out very easily. Essentially, the insole itself, just your regular Orphalite Adidas insole, which they use on pretty much every single shoe. You just have a nice AE design on top. So while I was moving inside the shoe, the insole was moving as well. Essentially, if I did a really hard lateral stop, it would kind of fold up like this on itself inside the shoe underneath my foot while I was playing, or something like this would happen, that it would fold up like this and that way. And that was just a really uncomfortable feeling, so I was kind of afraid the same would happen on the lows. Luckily, so far I haven't noticed it. I hope it's not going to come along. If it does, I'll put a pinned comment in the comment section down below. but that's definitely something they could improve on the A2 or in general on all their shoes. They could just glue down the insoles to get rid of these issues. The strobel board is nothing special. You have a big cutout right in the heel area, which allows for good compression underfoot, but because especially on the highs you have that full bed of jet boost, you're pretty solid for stepping comfort anyways. Moving on to the support features, they also stayed pretty much the same mainly because they kept the same bed of the shoes, so the same outsole and also the same midsole. Apart from cushioning, we still have this X-shaped shank plate that goes all the way through the midsole, which makes for very good torsional support. It's very hard to bend. You do have some forefoot flex, but the midfoot right here is very, very stable, and that's just how I like it to be. They also kept the heel counter. It's not carbon fiber, although it looks like it, but it offers very good support in the heel area. And a minor difference is that the lacing system isn't the same anymore. For one, it doesn't go all the way up, and the second thing that's new is that the tongue isn't attached all the way up to the materials, which actually makes it easier to put them on for one, and also allows you to wear ankle braces way easier, also some thicker braces. I wear the better guards. They essentially go with any shoe without a problem anyways, but if you wear something thicker like a McDavid brace or like the Zams braces, you should also be good to go with those on the AE1 lows. The materials are also essentially the same, only that you have less of them on the lows because we're missing this ankle area right here. And a big misconception is that the high tops have better ankle support anyways, because a lot of people think this material right here will prevent an ankle roll. But to be honest, this thing right here is going to do absolutely nothing if you're about to roll your ankle. The only way to really prevent ankle rolls is either by taping your ankles or by wearing ankle braces. This right here is not going to keep your ankle in place. Apart from that, the materials have stayed the same. Unfortunately, the scuffing also has stayed the same. I will try to give you some close-ups on screen. I don't know if the camera can focus that well on it, but on the highs and on the lows, you can see that especially in the toe area, the materials are scuffed relatively easily. As I said, I wore these for our last game. Those scuffs are all from that game. So that's kind of sad to see. It's even worse on like all white pairs or something. You really see the scuffs very easily and they're really prominent on the shoe. But apart from that, I really do like the materials as well. On pictures, they did look extremely clunky. On foot, they don't feel like that at all, luckily. They're actually relatively soft and easy to move, so they will also conform to your feet relatively easily, and I absolutely love the design of the shoe in general. The highs and the lows look absolutely amazing. The A1 has also recently been named the sneaker of the year. Pretty deservingly, in my opinion. It's probably the best first signature shoe ever, and as I said, I really like performance of the highs and the lows. The last two things actually we're going to talk about is the weight, because that's a big issue. For me on the highs, they are really heavy. So my hopes were that the lows were going to be lighter. And the fit, because I know a lot of people have been struggling with heel slip on the lows. But first, let's get into the weight area. The highs come in at 640 grams or 22.60 ounces, whereas the lows come in at 19.85 ounces or 563 grams. So there is actually a pretty big difference in weight. This is a size 13.5 to keep that in mind for reference. The fit in itself is essentially the same. They are wide foot friendly and fit very similarly to the Adidas Harden Volume 7, which I love. One of the best shoes for wide feet of all time, and I have extremely wide feet. If you want to know more about sizing and in general the best pairs for wide feet, narrow footers, flat footers, and so on, I highly suggest check out my latest video, my ultimate basketball shoe guide. It's going to be around here somewhere. Back to the A1s. The thing that's a little bit different is that the heel shape is just a tiny bit different, so that has led to heel slip for a lot of people. I haven't experienced it, but I think that's simply because my foot is so wide and I usually lace them very tightly that my foot just can't go anywhere in that scenario. That being said, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed my review. If you did, I would highly appreciate it if you could leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and comment your thoughts down below. Do you like the AE1 highs or the lows more? I would be interested to hear your thoughts. Have a good one and see you next time.